G'day guys, my name is Wildkard. Welcome back to my channel. Please like, comment and subscribe. Otherwise, let's get on with today's review. Hurricanes versus the Reds. What is it? Round 10 Super Rugby Trans-Tasman. Yeah, it's Super Rugby Pacific Trans-Tasman rounds. And this was also Super Round, Trans-Tasman Super Ooper Duper Anzac Day Showdown round. Day 2, Melbourne. This was the game that I probably look forward to the most this weekend. Hurricanes is my away team. Reds is my home team. But this was, I thought this was a little bit disappointing for the Reds, from my perspective. The game kind of like kicked up in a really weird, almost start. So the Hurricanes really hurt themselves for the first 20 minutes of the game or so. They were giving away silly penalties. There was 2 yellow cards. Hunter Paisami, being small, seems like a yellow card magnet. I guess he's small and it's a bit difficult to tackle and like really easy to kind of like infringe whilst tackling him. I guess maybe that was the issue. But yeah, Hunter Paisami drawn 2 yellow cards. There was one tackle where he kind of got flipped upside down a little bit, lifting over the horizontal. One of the I think it was the who was it? Was it? Yeah, anyway, one of the Hurricanes players gets a yellow card, and then the prop gets a yellow card as well, hitting Hunter Paisami high in a tackle. I mean, Hunter is pretty short. It's like 172 or something. I think it's about 172, 170. So he's pretty small in stature, and he runs to you like a rabid dog, right? So he's a menace on the field. He smashes you hard. So it's really difficult to like handle him. And like, you know, it's really, maybe that's the reason his aggression draws out a lot of these, I guess, ill discipline from the opposition. So 2 yellow cards against the Hurricanes. And as a result, the Hurricanes try to build pressure, not opting for early points when it was on offer, resulted in the Reds getting a 17 points to nil. 17 points to nil for 30 minutes in the first half. Just flying off with a really quick start going into halftime, right? And with about 10 minutes left, not even 10 minutes, with about 5 minutes left in halftime, you think that the Hurricanes might get some points on the ball. The Hurricanes scores 2 tries in 5 minutes before halftime and closed out the first half 14 points to 17. Was it 40 points? Was it 12 points, 17 or 40? I think it was. No, I think Jordy Barrett missed the conversion. I think it was 12 points to 17. But yeah, the halftime, like you could not believe this. The Reds went off to such an easy, smooth start. The Hurricanes look just down and out, and immediately before halftime, the Hurricanes hits back, and the Reds were not able to score a single point for the remainder of the second half. Yeah. And obviously this game has a big loss going in. The Reds lost James O'Connor just prior to the game to a knee injury during training. So the Reds, what's his name? Crichton has to step in for the 10 jersey. Now, James O'Connor is a world-class number 10, so there's no shame that Crichton could not quite fill the duties that James O'Connor is used to fulfilling. But I mean, being caught up last minute, he did as good as you can possibly expect from somebody that was caught up last minute. And as a result, the Reds' attack looked a little bit disorganized. There was a few really like outstanding players that's trying to, you know, push through, lift the team up. McRae, Harry Wilson did exceptionally well making those line breaks. And what's his name? McDermott also did exceptionally well, trying to run those plays off the knife spot. And then also Hunter Paisami in center field he was just everywhere, doing everything. He was playing more than just your typical traditional inside center, running hard, busting through lineouts, hitting hard in tackling. He was also doing a little bit of number 10 spot as a second 5A as well to try to take some of the load of Crichton. But eventually the Reds really did look like they were missing a bit of organization without James O'Connor. Quite frankly, there was a lot of attacks where it's kind of like, yeah, let's just go with this and see what happens. There was no like direct. There was like the intention seems to be lacking in some of their organization. The Hurricanes, on the other hand, yes. So the Reds did have this issue this season many times earlier throughout the season, and they always kind of get away with it just because they have so much talent. With just like the few players that I mentioned, they're core players. The Reds were able to dig themselves out these kind of like games where they look almost slipped away from them. They kind of called them back. So earlier in the round, the Reds was playing against Fijian Endurance, looking like they're gonna win the game, and then allowing the Enduro to score 3 tries in 5 minutes, and then almost losing the game, right? And then the Reds were able to crawl themselves last minute to win the game. So they had this consistent issue as well. And then I think a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week, against the Melbourne Rebels as well. The Reds looked like they were winning quite comfortably and just slowly led the Rebels back into the game. Like, just lacked urgency from a lot of the players, lacked the intensity. And then once again, it was up to the kind of like the big guns, the few players I just mentioned, to pull the Reds out with the win in the last kind of like 10 minutes or so. So that inconsistency has been a big issue for the Reds throughout the season. I'm really surprised to see that, because the Reds has been a team that's at least under the tutelage of Brad Thorne, has been a team that's really consistent at least last year. But this year, yeah, for whatever reason, that's a big issue. I think Brad Thorne is not going to be happy. I think just players maybe getting a bit too comfortable with their positions in the team, too comfortable with their situation in life, and they really lack that bit of hunger in the second half of the game, especially after taking that early lead. You can really see it. The players are just kind of like, yeah, well, I think we got this one. I was really disappointed, but this time, unlike the previous times, the Reds were not able to, walk away with a win. Obviously, against international level All Blacks players, you're gonna get punished. So the Hurricanes, let's talk about them. Like I said, they came out with they came out like really hurting themselves with a lot of their players. Like I mentioned, 2 yellow cards, forcing a lot of small errors like line-out errors, drop balls, just silly stuff for the penalties, and just really giving away points for the Reds. The Reds weren't actually playing spectacularly well in the first 30 minutes with that 17 points lead. They just kind of like piggybacked a lot of the Hurricanes penalties to get themselves ahead. But with about 5 minutes left, the Hurricanes finally get themselves in order. The big dogs, Adi Savia, really lifted the intensity for the team. For the team, he copped like a high shot. Like one of the Reds players send off with a yellow card, and seems like you poke the bear and the bear's gonna bite back. Adi Savia and a lot of the and then Jordy Barrett, and just really lift the team back up and dominated the Reds for the remainder of the game, not allowing them to score a single point for 45 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty dire. So 4 tries to the Hurricanes. Sullivan 2 tries. Terrell Lomax gets 2, almost got 3. The prop, and then the Reds, Hamish Stewart gets a really beautiful team try, and then McRae gets the second try for the Reds, all in the first half. Some quick match stats: 4 tries to 2. Run meters, the Reds actually has more run meters, 480 to the Hurricanes 424. The Reds really did look like they were just running. There's a lack of direction when they were running, especially in the second half. Turnovers conceded though, second half. This really piled up against the Reds. So 10 turnovers for the Hurricanes and 16 turnovers against the Reds. At halftime, the turnover count was, what was it? I think the halftime was, the turnover count was 7-2. I think the Hurricanes had 7 turnovers and the Reds only had 2. And so then it just really blown for the Reds in the second half. The tackle count, 139 halftime for the Hurricanes, 21 missed tackles, and the Reds, 128 overall and 12 missed tackles in play. The kicking game, quite even overall, 15-18. I was probably expecting a bit more kicking from the Hurricanes, to be quite frank. The lineouts was pretty dire for both teams. 5 lineouts lost for the Hurricanes. A lot of this was in the first half as well. 3 lineouts lost in the first half, like in the first 30 minutes or so. The Reds lost 2 in the first half. Sorry, the Reds lost 1 in the first half, 2 in the second half. So not very good in the both teams. The scrum was a bit of 50-50 for both teams as well. It looked like the Reds had dominance in the scrums, but the referee was a bit reluctant, seems like at times, to give away penalties. But yeah, the Hurricanes did eventually get 1 penalty, lose 1 of their own feed. But overall, I thought Daniel Tupou did quite well for the Reds in that regards. Penalties conceded overall, 12 to the Hurricanes, 13 to the Reds. Two yellow cards for Hurricanes, all within the first 30 minutes. And the Hurricanes had to play with, basically 2 players in the bin at one point. And really, looked, like they're just hurting themselves in a lot of their plays. 1 yellow card for the Reds just before halftime. And that was basically the beginning of the end for the Reds. When that yellow card was issued, the Reds just never got themselves back into the game after that yellow card. The penalty count at halftime, right? 9 penalties considered for the Hurricanes already. So Hurricanes only conceded 3 in the second half, whilst the Reds conceded 7 and they conceded 5 in the second half. So let's quickly go through some of these key points in the game. So obviously, right from the start, the Reds gets up with a penalty 5 minutes into the game. Lomax gets penalized for collapsing. Collapsing a was it for collapsing? I think for collapsing the break. I think also putting his weight in the breakdown. And then the Hurricanes immediately gets an opportunity to kick for 3. Like a minute later from after this 3 points was given, they opted not to. So they go for a line out, and they literally just threw the line out away. So it was really poor throw. The Reds pinches the line out. Immediately, it was looking like that was just absolutely thrown away opportunity there. And then on the 9th minute, yellow card against the Hurricanes for a dangerous tackle on Hunter Paisami. I want to just get the player's name because this was quite an important. Yeah, Balin Sullivan gets yellow carded for a relatively dangerous tackle. I thought it was not that bad, to be honest. Kind of lifted him a bit, dropped him on the side. It wasn't too bad, but it was yellow card. And then on the 12th minute, Jordy Barrett misses a kick to potentially put Hurricanes 3 points back, and he misses his kick. It was quite a bit far back, but this was quite centered. Something that Jordy Barrett, you would expect to get, to be honest, this one. On the 19th minute, Hurricanes gets a second yellow card, again, for... On the 19th minute, the first yellow card is finished. The Hurricanes were actually managed quite well to not concede any point during this period. On the 20th minute, just as the yellow card's finishing, the Reds were pounding the Hurricanes try line. Tupou looks like he crashes over for a try. He got really, really eager. He got tackled just short. He wiggles himself. He literally did the worm on the ground, right? He literally did the worm on the ground, worms himself over the try line. And then referee ruled double movement, no try. The biggest worm you ever see on a rugby field. And then on the 23rd minute, finally the Reds gets through. They make the Hunter Paisami gets the ball in center field. He did a dummy and slips through a gap. Looks quite beautiful. And then he links up with Tupou. Tupou, the man, the center field, the greatest center field player ever, runs down. And then he just no look pass to Stewart. Hamish Stewart goes in for the first try for the Reds. Was quite beautiful. That handling from Tupou was quite nice to see. On the 23rd minute, so this happened on the 23rd minute. 2 minutes later, another yellow card against Hurricanes. This was, I think, who was it? It was the prop. Puri Rakete Stones gets a high shoulder onto Hunter Paisami again. But this one I thought was a red, to be honest. The referee says Hunter Paisami was in the process of being tackled, therefore that's a mitigating factor. Even though he wasn't really falling, but he did say that was a mitigating factor, the fact that he was getting tackled, so he mitigated down to a yellow. But anyway, I mean, it is what it is. I thought the consistency maybe a little bit lacking there by Angus Garner. I think he did make the decision to make the game more friendly to the viewers, but I thought it was probably the wrong decision there. I thought that was definitely a red card, shoulder to the head. Yeah, anyway, the Reds were able to just basically piggyback from a bunch of yellow cards. A bunch of penalties after this as well. Just straight back into the Hurricanes half, into the 5 meter line for a 5 meter line out for the Reds. Reds just set up a maul, nice and easy. They pushed the maul through, and then the ball carrier peels, McRae peels, and charges through for a try. So that was quite easy, nicely executed set piece. And then after that's on the 28th minute, 27th minute, and that is it. That is the last time the Reds score that. More was never seen again by the Reds. And and then from there onwards, it was Hurricanes all the way through. So on the 35th minute, as the first half drawn to a close, Hurricanes gets himself, the Reds actually gets himself a yellow card on the 36th minute. Bit of a high shot on Hardy Savia. He looked like he kind of tried to duck it. He tried to duck it, and then he kind of hit him in the head. So that was a mitigating factor, I guess. One of the Reds player gets a yellow card, so Hurricanes now gets a advantage to play. So there was one. So the first try by Sullivan. Okay, so basically this was a really weird try for the Hurricanes. It looked like the Reds were like in the front foot attacking. There was a kind of like a pass, kind of like a floaty pass in midfield, and Julian Savia jumps up, pats the ball down. It looked like a deliberate knock on, but the ball actually went backwards. Just the way that he kind of like was jumping forward, and the ball was kind of like, the ball was kind of like going back, looked like he was going backwards, just the way that he was going forward, and the ball was kind of like coming straight down. So you look like the ball was going backwards. So the referee ruled that a knock back. So he knocks the ball down. So maybe some of the Reds player were expecting a penalty. The Hurricanes scoops it up, run through a gap, played by the Whistle boys, and then basically they link up with Sullivan on the wing, goes in, basically like 50 meters for a first try for the Hurricanes. Just before halftime, with the yellow card in play, the Hurricanes pushes the clock into the Reds. They pounding the Reds try line, the Reds giving away quite a few penalties. They go for a line out set up for a maul. They get a penalty advantage, and the Hurricanes just start crashing through towards the try line. Eventually, Terrell Lomax, the big prop, gets himself wiggled over for the second try for the Hurricanes. Halftime score 14 points to 17. Suddenly, the Hurricanes is back within how much was it? Within 3 points reach going to halftime, despite being 17 points down only 5 minutes ago. So yeah, that was really, really, so the Reds kind of that, letting themselves feeling too comfortable is starting to creep back in once again. Second half starts, the Hurricanes still has one player advantage. They started to, again, they just started to build pressure. They go for a line out inside the Reds half. The line out, again, the line out kind of comes in. The Hurricanes just start crashing through with pretty basic stuff, just start crashing through quick balls. TJ Piranana tries to judge through, gets tackled short. And then eventually, once again, almost like the try just scored before, Terrell Lomax gets the ball. Just really strong play, crashes himself over. Hurricanes pulls himself ahead, 19 points to 7, 1 minute into the second half. And then on the 45th minute, the Hurricanes gets another opportunity to go for 3 points. And this time they, instead of trying to, I guess, go for tries, Hurricanes decides to manage the game with another 3 points. So Jordy Barrett kicks this one, 22 points to 17 on the 45th minute. The Reds starts to giving away a lot of their own issues as well. On the 47th minute, Campbell kicks the ball out on the full in one of the outside of his own 22. Campbell also dropped the ball a couple times as well. Really, having a shocking day today. Jock Campbell. On the 56th minute, the Reds started looking a bit shaky. A minute later, there was a huge run from the Reds from inside their own 22. They make a nice little break. McDermott linking up to McRae just all the way down the field, and it was just wide open space. The Hurricanes were scrambling back. The Reds try to spread the ball wide to the wing, and Campbell drops the ball. So opportunities like that just being completely squandered. On the 61st minute, another penalty for the breakdown. Hurricanes kicks another 3. On the 70th minute, there was nice grubber kicks through by Garden Basher, and then the Sullivan runs in, recovers this grubber kick, dots the ball down for another try, for the 4th try for the Hurricanes. We saw this little grubber kick done quite a bit in the Enduro game, and this pays off for the Hurricanes here. And then on the 61st minute, there was another penalty for the breakdown. The grubber kick was the last point that was scored, and that's it. The Reds spent the entire second half looking quite lost in their attack. The few opportunities they did get, small errors, drop balls, really hurt them. And Brad Thorne would not be happy about this one. I think the consistency is starting to become an issue for the team, to really just feeling a bit too comfortable with some of the players after being ahead. Yeah, Brad Thorne needs to kind of whip them into shape a little bit there. Anyway, that's the game, guys. 30 points to 17. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Really help me out. Yada, yada, yada. Thank you for being here. Have a good weekend. I'll see you a bit later today for more reviews. Cheers.